Shalom. I want to make a lesson off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakodash. Double blessing and honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Back with another lesson through the spirit. Just want to play this clip from the Elder Amawan Kabar's lesson that he did yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. And I'm going to do a little lesson regarding that. And Lord willing, it'll be an edifying lesson to those out there listening and watching. So with that being said, let's get into it, man.
Once you cross this line and you on this side, that's when things get turned up. And that's the spirit, because a little while I'm gonna do a video on this. You know, this one's pertaining to the women. The women always want to know what's their part, what's their part in this thing, and da 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 da. We go into that all the time. But the topic at hand is the title that I got put together, Lord willing, is you women's greatest test or biggest test will be sharing a man and a husband. That's their test. Besides Jacob's trouble and all hell breaking loose with the mark of the beast, their biggest test right now, you sisters that call yourself sisters, your biggest test is when your husband or your man gets another wife. How many of you are really ready for that? You call yourself a sister, you call yourself, believing in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. Do you believe that your man, your husband, is his God-given right to acquire another woman? You can't have no beef with that?
See, and I can even give an account for this from my personal life, man. It was just Israelite women. There was actually two women I was dealing with who knew about the truth, and one of them knew more or was more knowledgeable on it. But the way that she was living her life, you would have thought she was in the world, which she is. We used to have talks and whatnot about the scriptures and stuff. And whenever I would bring up, for some reason with Israelite women, it's always a problem, or at least the ones, not the sisters, of course, not the ones in Great Millstone, like the ones who are, they're Israelites and they're part of other groups or they follow other groups. They're always, so fascinated with Isaiah 4:1, man, which I'll bring that up right now. So she was asking me, what's the benefit? She kept on bringing it up, and I'm like, witch, stop, stop bombarding me with that shit, because it started to get annoying, right? And you have to go right here to first to even understand why Isaiah 4:1, why it's an important precept for the end times, right? Because when shit hits the fan, man, like you were saying, in Jacob's trouble, as far as men going to war and stuff like that, there's gonna be a lot of these worldly men are gonna perish in that time, and the women are gonna be left to fend for themselves. So in that day, they're gonna seek protection, and the men that are gonna be able to protect them are gonna be the men of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? The true men, the men that are gonna shine bright like the firmament. So let me get this. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, and verse 25, and it says, "Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she, being desolate, shall sit upon the ground." Right? So a lot of these niggas are gonna be slain in these streets, man. We've been telling you these things, right? When it comes to the things that are about to take place on the earth, a lot of these so-called manly men and whatnot are going to turn into women in that day. They're going to become real feminine. It says, the book of Jeremiah 30:5, and this is what I'm referencing. "For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness," right? So when So when these said perils come upon the face of the earth, man, a lot of men are going to literally turn into biatches, man. They're going to, right? It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay? And there's other accounts of men, these mighty men, you know what I'm saying, shitting their pants at the presence of the Lord. We can go to Isaiah 13 and verse 6. It says, judgment on the day of the Lord. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Right? And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. This is what's going to happen to the 2/3 and the men in the world, right? The heathen nation men. Now, Jacob's trouble, of course, is the judgment of Jake. Is mainly for Jake. So our people are going to be catching the most hell. But the men of other nations are going to be going through it as well. It's just going to be worse for Jake. And a lot of them are going to be reserved for the nuclear destruction as well. More so. It says, behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. And let's continue reading. It says, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And here it is right here, though. This is concerning the men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? Lord willing, we be that number. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, right? So when it says, like, even in the book of Daniel chapter 12, all right, the book of Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1, it says the time of the end. And I'm going to go back to Isaiah 4 and 1 after this. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book, which is the elect. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, which is the elect that's in the spiritual realm, and some to shame and everlasting contempt, which is the wicked that's also in the spiritual realm. It says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, like I was mentioning, man. So that goes with Isaiah 13 and 9. Because, Lord willing, we be at that number, man. Us as the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, we're going to be, our wisdom's going to shine, our manliness is going to shine, and our preparation is going to shine, because everything that we've been going through right now on this side during this time leading up to Jacob's trouble has been a test for us, right? That's why it says in the book of Zechariah 13 and 8 and 9 that we're going to be tried as silver is tried, and we're going to be refined as silver is refined, and tried as gold is tried, right? The wicked right now, as it says, man, they are not in trouble as other men. They're not getting punished for their iniquities right now, but very soon they will be, and they're going to be the ones that's catching hell, right? It's all sunshine and rainbows for them right now, and they're not catching hell the way that brothers are in the truth are catching hell. But very soon, the script is going to get flipped, and we're going to be shining bright because the Lord have put us through the fire. It says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Right? So just doing the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, there's going to be a lot of things that come with that, man. It's going to be a lot of things that come with that. That's why we always tell you all to keep pushing. And the elder brother Amon Gabar says this as well, man. You got to see your crown, you know. If you can't see your crown, then what are you even striving for, bro? Right? You got to keep pushing through this thing. It ain't easy. It's definitely hard. There's many that are called, but few that are chosen, right? And we want to be of the chosen, man, Lord willing. So going back to Isaiah 3, and I believe it's a scripture in the Apocrypha that even talks about this. I have to find it, Lord willing. No, that's not it. All right, let me go back to Isaiah. So this is just one reason why Isaiah 4:1 is going to take place. And this is going to take place on this side, man. Of course, it's going to take place in the kingdom, but it's also going to take place on this side. It's going to take place on this side first. This might be in Isaiah, the 15th chapter. Let's see, is it in the 16th chapter? Here it is. So this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 33, and it reads, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. Let's read up above this so y'all can get a little bit of context of what it's talking about. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 16 and 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, man. So it's gonna be great destruction on the earth. The Lord is about to do a number on the earth, man, where a lot of people are gonna perish. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. It's even another precept in the scriptures that speaks on that as well. Let me see. I think it's Jeremiah 8. No, it might be 16. Let me see. No, it might be Jeremiah 25 and 33. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 25 and verse 32. And it reads, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. And the slain of Yahweh shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Howl, ye shepherds, and cry, and wallow yourselves in the ashes, ye principal of the flock, for the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished, and ye shall fall like a pleasant vessel. Right? So there's gonna be so many deaths on the earth, man, that they're gonna be cast out like shit on the ground. This is gonna be bodies laying out, and there's gonna be too many to even. You're not even gonna worry about burying them. They're just gonna be laid on the side of the streets, man. You're gonna be walking and stepping over piles of dead bodies, man. That's the things that are about to come upon the earth. Verse 24 says, "There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripe, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice." All right? That's why it says these times are about to be so bad that if the Lord did not shorten the days, no one would survive. No one would survive. Let's get this. Matthew 24:20. "But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." And that, goes with Daniel 12:1, like I was just reading. "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." It says in the NLT, "In fact, unless that time of calamity is shortened, not a single person will survive. But it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones." Okay? Now, going back, I know I'm doing a lot of jumping, but these precepts are flying to me, and I'm just trying to connect these dots for y'all. It says, verse 28, "For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rock, in the clefts of rocks," which you already have the elites of the Edomites already going to high mountains, remote locations, and other countries, fleeing from America into those clefts already, because they know their great destruction is about to come. That's okay though. That's when Jeremiah 16 gonna come in to effect. "As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or when as a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword." All right? "And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall go full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." Okay? So that is why, this is just one reason why Isaiah 4:1 is going to go into effect, because a lot of these men are going to die. There's going to be women who are seeking protection who are going to be mourning because they don't have a husband. So that means, what does that mean? You're going to have multiple women coming to one singular man who want to be taken as his possession. But they don't understand that. They're in opposition to that. I've had a couple women, when I've told them these things, "Oh, I'm not going to be anybody's multiple wife. I'm not going to be somebody's second option." It's easy to say that now until these things play out on the earth, and then you're searching for a man and you can't find one. So If you said that shit to me, it's over with. You already told me what you were doing. So if you ever try to come to me during the times of Jacob trouble, I'm not even gonna say nothing to you. I'm just gonna continue on about my business and disregard you. The book of Isaiah 4:1, it says a remnant prepared, and in that day. So remember, we just read Isaiah, the end of Isaiah 3:25. The men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. Now it can be more than 7, it can be less than 7. The number 7 just represents the number of completion. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And in that day shall the branch of Yahweh be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel, right? Because in that day we're also, which we're going to be on the run and stuff like that, but we're also, women are going to be being saved through childbearing. We're going to be spreading our seed and multiplying as well in that day, which I can get that as well. I just want to get this first. In the NLT, in that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight for each man. Let's read that again. In that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight for each man, saying, let us all marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maids. Because back in those days, which what goes around comes around. In those days, being seen as an old maid was a shame. The women nowadays don't have any shame, but very soon, when, like I said, man, we're about to revert back to the olden times where women are about to be very feminine in that day. They're not going to be screaming they're independent. They're going to be looking for a man. They're going to become very feminine. They're going to start covering themselves up, right? They're going to start to refer back to your natural instincts. It says, but in that day the branch of Yahweh will be beautiful and glorious. The fruit of the land will be the pride and the glory of all who survive in Israel. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem, when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, which is talking about the women. When it says daughter of Zion, it's talking about the men. And shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. And Yahweh will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a cover from storm and from rain. Now, about women being saved through childbearing. Let me see real quick. You even go to Isaiah 3:25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty men in war, and every gate shall lament and mourn. Yeah, like I said, I already got these two. 7 women shall take hold of one man. Because you got to remember also another reason for Isaiah 4:1. It wasn't just for sexual purposes, right? Even when it was, even when we had multiple wives back in the days, right? Jacob had multiple wives. Abraham had multiple wives. King David had multiple wives. King Solomon had multiple wives. Like, it's an account of a lot of men that were righteous who had multiple wives. But that wasn't necessarily for sexual purposes. Of course, the Lord tells us to be fruitful and multiply, right? But there's another thing too that you have to account for. You have to remember, man, that, like, for instance, you have to remember that that we were using these women. Number one, they're our possession. They're under our rulership, right? They weren't just being used for sexual things, though, right? You might have a wife that cooks. She cooks and prepares the meals. You might have a wife that cleans. She cleans the house. You might have a wife, you know what I'm saying, that grows a garden. You might have a wife that that does other things. Like, it's so many things that like a woman can be very good at, but that doesn't mean she's gonna be good at everything, man. Right? So that's why they're referred to as sister wives, because ultimately they're working together as a team. They're not looking at each other in a sense of competition, right? But that's the spirit that the Lord has put on our women right now, which is why having multiple wives does not work in this kingdom at this point in time. It's not very beneficial, because women have a spirit of damn near manliness on them, to where they're territorial like a man and they butt heads. They just want the man for themselves. Well, it's not going to be like that during Jacob's trouble, or during the time when shit hit the fan, or even in the kingdom. They're not going to have an evil eye towards one another. So it says, the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, and we can start at verse 9. It says, in like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness, which is a sense of shame or humbleness, and sobriety, not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly array, which they also was mentioned in Isaiah 3 if you read up above, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection, which is another word for submission. And for some reason, like, even when I was talking to the Israelite woman, which I'm about to have to close it off soon, they find a problem with submitting, which I don't understand, because everybody has to submit to somebody. Shit, we submit to Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah submits to Yahweh. The woman's supposed to submit to us, and the children are supposed to submit to the women. So, well, the children are supposed to submit to the women, of course, and their father, but there's nothing wrong with submission. At the end of the day, somebody has to answer to somebody. It says, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence, which a lot of women can't get that right now on this side. That's why he was saying that is their test, right? For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. And sin is transgression of the law. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety, which is what I was saying, man. So that's going to be a big test for our women, man, is being able to be with their man and have a sister wife, or him having multiple wives, and them putting off that sense of pride, that sense of territorialism that Babylon the Great has used to infiltrate our women. So we shall see, man. It's going to be a big test for them. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to those out there listening and watching. I'm going to close it off there. Call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double blessing and honors to the apostles and elders for great millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And until next time, I say Shalom, Israel, Shalom. And as always, we're one day close to the kingdom, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Shalom.